out in the Jeep, and I wanted to talk about the bridge collapse because I have some new information that I've been putting together with all of the collective out there doing the work and doing the basically free journalism from a different perspective than most journalists. So, let's get right to it. The bridge collapsed at, well, the boat hits the pillar at 1:28 a.m. and this was on 3:26. Literally the last, it was right after the full moon lunar eclipse, and the last lunar eclipse that we had was on 10:28. Now, pay attention to 1:28 and 10:28, because when you drop the zero, it's 1:28. So this was 128 days after Biden on November 20th's birthday on 11/20, just like the Days of the Dead on 11/2 being signed were issued on 11/2, just like the Twin Towers on 9/11, honoring the twins. Romo slays his twin brother Remo, 181. The North Tower collapses on 9/11 at 10:28. The Gematria from Maryland, 1:28. So the last bridge to collapse and make headlines was that Pennsylvania bridge collapse. Remember that bus? And that was on 1:28. Now, leave the world behind on 10:28, where the big oil rig or the cargo ship crashes into the shore. That same day, the Lakers just beat the Bucks with 128 points. 128 days before Francis Scott Key's birthday. The name of the bridge, the Francis Scott Key Bridge. That's the same day of the collapse, so Nancy Pelosi allegedly conceived at 1:28. She had big news about starting off investing in Singapore on August 1st. That's homeboy Francis Scott Key's birthday on August 1st. And the cargo ship that hit the pillar it bared the Singapore flag. So this is a ritual on the attack on 440 hertz. 440 hertz is attacking the 432 hertz pillar, because that's what the whole Remo on 5/9, 5/11, and 5/12 of the Lemuria. Romo slays his twin brother in 44 BC. The Roman Republic falls. The Roman Empire begins. Romo slays his twin brother Remo. Take apart the word Romo, that's more man. Slays more re. Re is the note, the solfeggio tone. Re equaling 9 hertz, like do, re, mi, fa. So 9 hertz, it's the same as 432 hertz. 4 plus 3 plus 2 equals 9. The digital root equals 9 hertz, 432 hertz. So this is 128 is it's 440 hertz, and I'll explain that in a second here. I just want to keep going with this list that I have going here. So, sorry. The bridge collapse, or the boat hits the pillar at 1:28. Bridge collapse gematria is 1:28. Maryland gematria is 1:28. This is 128 days after Biden. His birthday was on November 20th. Like 1/1/20 is just like 1/1/2, the Days of the Dead, just like the Balfour Declaration was signed on 11/2, like the Days of the Dead. Leave the world behind on 10/28, where the big oil container crashes into the shoreline. Remember the bus, or the last bridge collapse to make headlines was on 1:28 in Pennsylvania. Remember that bus? Let's see, the Francis Scott Key Bridge. So this is all in commemoration of this solar eclipse that's coming up on 4/8, because this is the 4/8 is the key. It is the bridge out of 440 hertz into 432 hertz. So 480 hertz plus 48 hertz equals 528 hertz, your solar plexus chakra, the center of the electromagnetic color spectrum. Now, speaking of electromagnetic color spectrum, the last the last full moon lunar eclipse was on 1028, just like 120, just like 128. So from this happened literally the day, the night of the lunar eclipse, the full moon lunar eclipse, and this was 4 months and 27 days after. Now the date 427, that's the 117th day of the year. 117 is the number of electromagnetism, and we're talking about this solar eclipse that's coming up here on 4/8, whenever 480 hertz plus 48 equals 528 hertz, the center of the electromagnetic color spectrum. When you subtract it, 480 hertz minus 48 hertz equals 432 hertz. It literally is the key bridge out of 440 hertz. So this whole 181 ritual is insane because, let's see here. Yeah, this is the order of the J suits, 9 IXXI, their little symbol there. That's when you put the IXXI together, it literally forms the square, the cube, and the cube is the 440 hertz. It's your like sacrum chakra. These people are just like worshiping the sacrum and the root chakra and controlling that area, because that's where the thought seeds plant in your system, and whoever controls the narrative controls the frequency. So 4 months and 27 days from 1028, the full moon lunar eclipse, to the full moon lunar eclipse that happened 14 days before this solar eclipse that we're having on 4/8 here. So 4 months and 27 days equals 150 days, like 15 equaling 360 hours, equaling 216,000 minutes, like 6 times 6 times 6 equals 216, and this also equals 41.10% of the year. So the gematria for Star Spangled Banner, 666, 190, and 114, mirroring that 4110%, and the 216 minutes, 6 times 6 times 6, and Star Spangled Banner being 666 in gematria and 190 in gematria, because 190 also equals 910, which 910, this all connects to 440 hertz. Hang on to that thought, because I want to go back to homeboy Francis Scott Key. He's the writer of the Star Spangled Banner. So this is all about music. This is all about the key bridge out of 440 hertz. They're trying to keep it in 440 hertz with this whole encomienda ritual that they've got going. Encomienda means dinner, like supper, like the Last Supper painting being 181 inches in dimension by 346 inches. So, where am I here? So the solar eclipse on 4/8, your photon absorption, your golden angle, your broken space-time symmetry, 137.5 times 4.8 equals 660 hertz, which 660 minutes equals 11 o'clock. And your 432 hertz pillar on my calendar, 822 equals 1100 hertz, and it also equals 234 days, like your Earth heart tilts at 23.4. Now, 8.22% of the year equals 42,200 minutes, like 432 hertz. So that's your 432 hertz pillar. All this 128 shit. So 911 plus 181 days equals 311, equaling 44 hertz on my chart. Romo slays his twin brother Remo in 44 BC, 181. So this is about the Lemurian, 511. 511 in time equals 311 minutes. 911 minutes equals 311 in time. So 311 days equals 182 days. The date 57 equals 128 days, like the bridge collapse at 128. 128 days equals 18 weeks and 2 days. 182 plus 182 equals 364. 3 hours and 64 minutes equals 404 in time. 57 weeks equals 404 days. So 128 is 440 hertz.